Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for stopping by the channel. So for this video, I wanted to go through the status of my watch collection at the end of 2023. And please do note that the watches in this watch box here represent a very brief snapshot in time. I tend to have a fairly fluid collection just with the content creation on this channel and my personal taste. And the way I want to go through these particular timepieces is to review the ones that have had the most wrist time this year, and then work backwards to maybe some of the newer acquisitions that I've had, which I just haven't had on the wrist for too long at the end of this year. So kicking things off with the watch on my wrist today is the Grand Seiko White Birch. And when this watch was released, it originally had their high beat movement with a dual impulse escapement and an extended 80 hours of power reserve. And I picked up that watch and owned it for a year and a half, but then I recently transitioned to this version, which has their new 5-day spring drive. And the reason I currently have the spring drive iteration of the White Birch is because I enjoy that increase in accuracy as well as the extended power reserve, so I can put it down for a bit of time, wear some other watches, and go back to it. And when you combine that with the amazing dial of the White Birch and the Evolution 9 series of case that Grand Seiko has developed, it's extremely comfortable on the wrist and it looks great. So it's capitalized a lot of wrist time for 2023. Now another long-standing watch in my collection is my discontinued 39mm Rolex Explorer. This is the 214270 reference, and I personally prefer this even over the slightly larger 40mm Explorer. It really just goes with everything. Also very comfortable to wear on the wrist. And yeah, I've continued to wear this watch a fair bit this year. I think for next year, if I'm going to aspire to any other Rolex, I would really love to get an Explorer 2 with the polar dial. But we'll see what happens. There's still a bit of a waiting list for that one. And even though the Rolex prices are stabilizing, I might have to make some moves before I can actually pick one up. Alright, for the next watch, you really can't have a large state of a collection without a G-Shock. This is the Solar Squared G-Shock, the reference number GWM5610. It's solar powered, it's got multi-band 6, so it's extremely accurate. And I wear this a lot, especially when I'm being active, like going to the gym or going on a run. Or in the summer, I mountain bike with this one a lot. It's also got a lot of functions to it. And reading the digital display with a backlight, it's really cool, it held up really well, and it's extremely affordable. So this one does come with me a lot, and it does get a fair bit of wrist time too. So at the start of this year, I kind of went through like a neo vintage dive watch phase, and the one that stuck with me to the end of this year is my Omega Seamaster. This one's like the Peter Blake version, I think. What stands out about this watch for me compared to the current generation of a Seamaster Professional is that it's fairly thin. It's the 41mm size, and I really like the dial and the handset. You got broad sword style hands instead of skeletonized ones, and you got the maxi lume plots on the dial with more of a subtle wave texture than the ceramic wave dial on the current versions of a Seamaster. And I really also enjoy this bracelet. It's a little bit thinner than the current version of the bracelet, and the clasp isn't as beefy. So it's very comfortable, and I love the design language for this particular reference of the Seamaster. Moving on to a really cool pilot watch. This is the IWC Le Petit Prince Mark XVIII. And yes, I know IWC released their Mark XX this year. There was an increase in pricing for that watch, and it's a little bit difficult to get at this time. But for me, the Mark XVIII reference still hits it out of the park when you're looking for a really good Type A Flieger. It does have a bit of a longer lug-to-lug, but for my wrist size, which is 7.5 inches for your reference, it wears extremely comfortable, and this bracelet on the IWC is one of the best pilot watch bracelets I've ever experienced. It's even got that push button micro extension on the clasp, which is really cool. Now probably one of the most popular Grand Seikos in their catalog is the SBGM 221 GMT. This happens to be a limited edition variation of that particular watch with an ice blue dial, and I also have it on this bespoke leather strap from Terry Crafted. It actually comes on a bracelet, but to me, this GMT in their Elegance collection is one of the most beautiful Grand Seikos that there is, and it's extremely functional too. I mean, it's a highly legible watch, even though it doesn't have any lume, but you get the GMT complication, you get the fully polished case with their Zeratsu finishing that makes it look like a mirror is reflecting off the case, which is really cool. I do kind of wish that this was a little bit more water resistant because it's only splash resistant at 30 meters, but it still comes with me a fair bit even when I'm traveling. So this watch has been getting some wrist time, even though it's a very new reference and I haven't owned this timepiece very long at all. So up next is another Grand Seiko, but it's kind of distinctly different in its design language than the SBGM reference. This is the SBGX 343. It's one of their sports models, and it catered to a Japanese domestic market. So you don't see too many of these in North America. Some people call it like the Grand Seiko Milgauss because it's highly anti-magnetic. It uses their 9F super quartz movement that is accurate to 10 seconds per year, and it's also water resistant to 200 meters. So it is very rugged. It's a great grab and go piece. It comes on a bracelet, but I've been wearing it lately on a single pass strap, and I think it looks really nice. And it's not something you see every day, so I'm happy to have this guy in my collection. We'll see if it survives to 2024. I've got quite a few Grand Seikos already. So if you follow my channel, one of the latest reviews I did was on this Oris Dat Watt limited edition. This is one of the watches that they do a lot of ocean conversation collaborations with, and it's got a beautiful fume gradient green dial, as well as some atypical complications. You got a sub-seconds at the 9 o'clock position, and then the date complication is read on a date disc that moves around the inner circumference of a dial, which is kind of cool. And of course, being an Aquis, it's a very robust dive watch. It comes with the OEM bracelet, but you also get a blue rubber strap in the box as well. So it's a bit versatile too compared to some other Oris Aquis models I've seen. And I was really just attracted to the dial. So probably the longest watch that I've owned is this Seiko SARB035. This is the cream dial version of a SARB. I did own a SARB033 as well, which was the black dial version, and I gifted it to my twin brother. So we each have one of these watches. I don't wear this one as often as I should, but it has a lot of significance for me and my family, so it's definitely not going to go anywhere anytime soon. And it's a really great timepiece. I highly recommend picking up one of the original SARBs if you get a chance, especially if you have a slightly smaller wrist. It's about 38 millimeters in case diameter, but wears extremely well. So I was at a Christmas party at one of my local ADs this year, and they happen to have a bunch of the new Tissot PRX color options out there. This one is the ice blue dial, and I was really impressed seeing this watch actually in person. The PRX is actually a watch that I kind of dismissed when it was released a couple of years ago, because at that time everyone was going crazy for that integrated bracelet sports style type of watch. At a glance, the silhouette of this one did look a lot like an AP Royal Oak. And even though this does have its own heritage behind it, I didn't think I would like it so much, but grabbing it in the hand and wearing it on the wrist, I've really grown to enjoy the PRX, and it's probably one of the best purchases you can make if you're going for a Swiss watch under $1,000. And then rounding out the collection for this year is this Grand Seiko professional 600-meter diver in high-intensity titanium. This is the SBGH 255. It's their first professional diver, originally released in 2018. This one came up pre-owned in really good condition, and I kind of jumped on it. It's a big boy, and I kind of wanted a statement piece, but because it is made of titanium, it's surprisingly lightweight, and even the previous owner had a lot more links out of the bracelet than I did. So, I mean, people with like small wrists under 7 inches can still pull this off. And it's a really impressive diver. I really like the build quality, and it's got like this hobnail pattern on the dial, and the dial is made of iron to help resist magnetic fields. So it's not a popular reference for their dive watch collection, but if you get a chance to check one out, I highly suggest you do. So that's going to about do it for this 2023 status of the watch collection. I would also love to know your guys' thoughts and what you guys currently have in your collection. And if you do enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to the channel. It does help out a lot. I really hope you have a safe and happy holidays coming into the new year. And as always, I can't wait to catch you guys in the next video.